everyone. Today I would like to talk about the autonomy in community in Sham district. This is my outline. My name is Heidi. My major subject is Greater China Studies. I've learned the knowledge related to policy, economic, society, and education. The knowledge developed the civic awareness and political stance for me. I view the issue from a policy perspective. My home is Changsha. I've lived in Changsha over 20 years. When I was small, I lived in Seoul, SH. Now I'm living in Holiday, SH. I have a higher sense of belonging to the residents of Sham district. The population in Sham is 5,869 people. This shows that Sham is a district which have high population density and the poorest district in Hong Kong. This the question have developed in my mind for over 20 years. Is how to undergo participatory democracy in Sham district to motivate autonomy in community about the from the political affairs. You may asking about what is autonomy in community. Some scholars point out that in a community, major stakeholder is resident. Community autonomy, which is the ability of a community to take independent organized initiative on its social, cultural, economic, educational, and political affairs. The variables related to community residence autonomy, which are community issues, community awareness, community participation, and community autonomy. What I have learned in my academic year, firstly, is about Hong Kong political affairs obstacle, and what is political and what is participatory democracy in community, and the top-down development in Sham district. For the knowledge that I have learned in political literature in Hong Kong context, this have wised me to think about the Hong Kong political affairs obstacles in community. In my course, they have talking about democracy in modern world. One is representative democracy, and the another one is participatory democracy. Representative democracy is a type of democracy that people choose a group of people to represent in the political affair through election, for example, voting. The participatory democracy is to emphasize on citizens participating in regular election, actively participating in different mechanisms, organization, and civil society to influence the formation of public policies. Hong Kong government under the basic law, the local administrative organization is the district council. They have the elected and the ex-official. The function of district council is to advise the government. For example, one on the use of public funds allocated to the district for local public works and community activities, and where funds are made available for the purpose to undertake. To the next course about the politics and government concepts, issues, and perspectives, I have learned that what is bureaucracy in public administration. The definition of bureaucracy is the administration system governing any large institution. The functions of the bureaucracy is administration, policy of rights, calculating interest, political stability. In my tutorial 5, it has pointed out an example of bureaucracy is how to govern the indigenous inhabitants of the new territories. During the rapid urbanization of the new territories, the government relied heavily on the traditional leaders in the rural communities to facilitate the compulsory phase of land for development purpose. In this way, they become useful allies for the government to implement the developmental policy in the new territories and to facilitate its modernization until now. From those two courses, I have learned that in the past, the government tried to implement the representative democracy into public affairs. For example, the election of district council nowadays. But there are still 27 ex-official district council members in 2019. The ex-official district council members, they are not formed through the voting. And nowadays, it seems that the representative democracy still cannot be completely implemented into the Hong Kong political system. The district council become the main pathway for residents to speak out issues because the district council members hold the power to advise government and make available funds. To practice urban planning under the top-down bureaucracy, for example, to implement developmental policies in territory without any consultation. It seems that in Hong Kong, it still has the top-down relationship in the community. The role of residents become passive, hard to join the discussion related to issues in community. The participatory democracy cannot be functioned. Difficult to motivate the autonomy in communities. I'm a reporter in the organization which recorded in Media Hong Kong in my internship. In the internship, I have known more about the top-down development in Sham district. The idea of development of Poland Street has been pointed out in the Chief Executive 2017 Policy Address. Leisure and Cultural Service Department and the Transport Department proposed the plan of develop Lei Court Sports Center and temporary car park in the Sham district facilities committee. The purpose is consult district members' opinion. Although residents can have the right to listen to the conference, the residents do not have the right to say anything. The agenda, minutes, audio, and discussion paper have been posted online. This shows that the development plan is not participatory democracy, and Hong Kong have the low level of participatory democracy. The development plan of Sham district decided by the government top-down development more than residents can be participate in district planning. Have you ever heard about participatory budgeting? It is a type of participatory democracy. First, residents try to brainstorm ideas, and then develop proposals, and then organize a vote, and then fund the winning projects. However, in Taiwan, they have done the participatory budgeting successfully in Taiwan. When I have the field trip that went to Taichung to know more about the urban planning and development, one of the talk is talking about participatory budgeting in Taichung. The organization is Taiwan Regional Association of Democracy. The Civic Affairs Bureau Taichung City Government will motivate this plan in Taichung. They have divided a district to have the plan of participatory budgeting in Taichung. You may ask how to work in Taichung. Firstly, is the non-government organization will organize workshops to gather the residents, and then there have the elected proposal, around 24 elected proposals, and the 24 elected proposals all have been handed in to the government to undergo the proposal. This shows that the bottom-up development have developed in Taichung, and this have increased the level of autonomy in community. When we compare to Hong Kong, it seems that Hong Kong still maintains top-down development, lack of government support into this kind of scheme, lack of non-government organization motivate in community. In the past, Sham have one case which is related to participatory democracy. It is the Changning Road Reconstruction Area by Sham Resident Independent Planning Scheme. The concern group formed in 2007 because the Urban Renewal Authority announced the Changning Reconstruction Plan, but lack of the detailed planning in 2007. Therefore, they brainstormed an idea that they try to have a plan hanging to the government. They have done 1,000 questionnaires, and the topic is about to understand the demand for public housing and low-cost private residential buildings in the district. And they have developed a design model and proposal, and then they meet up with the officer or Urban Renewal Authority. Finally, they submit the document to government and the Legislative Council to try to practice their plan. This the video when in the past.
唔係好明呢個問題，不過既然有人咁講咧，咁我哋喺度鄭重聲明調查做一次嘅。
即係落實收購先有呢個真係資格，咁變咗，但係我哋未逼錢嗰啲，我哋根本就租埋嘅喎，包括公務嘅。咁即係話6月26凍結咗嗰啲咧，佢可能唔負責任㗎嘛，個市政府就係咪？咁你而家間接即係鼓勵緊你業主係趕緊下手，趕呢個租客走。
租客條例呢和市區重建政策兩者之間呢有流動㗎。
唔係你一個人打嘛？呢場仗啊！我哋打團體戰，
大家我一人都
你贏咗就巴閉咯！你知唔知啊？你又區幾多人受影響啊？
我哋今日最重要嘅口號係咩啊？反高鐵。
軍事左嘅，我哋好掛念你，請你落嚟接信。我哋好掛念你，請你落嚟接信。
市政局拒絕擴大佢哋原有受重建政策保障嘅身份。
公布重建嘅，咁如果呢啲咁嘅拆呢啲未公布重，係未公布，係未公布，係未。你講數內仲有180幾個項目啦，係未公布重建嘅。咁如果呢啲咁嘅拆呢啲咁嘅政
間嘛，有時喺早上，有時喺中午，有時喺夜晚，喺不同幾個地喺深水埗不同幾個地區，我哋總共做咗1000份嘅問卷，街頭問卷調查深水埗區市民嘅意願嚟做出嚟，佢哋係需要啲乜嘢？譬如公屋啊、公共設施啊、復建居屋啊咁樣，應該要平衡翻不同嘅聲音㗎喎。
This is the video that from the concern group, and we can see the background and what the process they undergo the participatory democracy in the Sham district. This is the model that's there from their pen. We can see that in the family the whole plan has been rejected by the government. The only change they can make is the tenants are directly enclosed by the owners. They can apply for the relevant scheme. It means that they mainly can have the money support for them to move out and for their loss in the reconstruction scheme. But the whole decided plan has been rejected by the government. Now I will talk about my ideal community. Is about can undergo participatory democracy in Sham district and to practice autonomy in communities. It seems that from the case of Turning Road has pointed out that it's very difficult to undergo participatory democracy in Sham district because the whole plan has been rejected by the government. Government seldom to develop the bottom-up development in Hong Kong. But I still have the hope in Sham district to have a autonomy in community, because it have already done in the Channing World plan. My first step is to develop a Sham district network. Sham residents, it is very important to develop Sham resident communication platform. Firstly, to invite pro-democracy district members, gather Sham residents through social media, for example, Facebook, online discussion forum, and Instagram. Or we need to set up some strict counters and open a group for the people who are willing to join. For example, use Telegram or WhatsApp for further discussion. Next is to design the plan related to Sham district. It's very important to organize workshops which cooperate with the pro-democracy district members for discussing the plan in Sham district. And I will use the questionnaire to receive comments, and the time for the questionnaire for around 1 month. The first step is to undergo the Sham district plan election. In 2012, it has undergone 6220 with further medium. The third vote is about 692,808 people to join the election. The platform is about the electronic voting and set up polling station. Take reference on this scheme and to undergo voting in Sham district. Electronic voting and set up polling station for 2 weeks, and to announce the result to the media. The fourth step is to submit the elected proposal to the government and suggest funds to the participating budgeting. Firstly, we can do is meet the government official, attend the Sham district council to express the demand. Without government fund, try to use crowdfunding. The target for our plan is to practice the plan and build up bottom-up development in community, and to achieve autonomy in community. For the long term, we need to have the long-term plan. Therefore, the final step is set up a non-government organization to do the participatory budget campaign for Sham district. The main key point is to run the long-term project, to educate residents what is participating budget or what is participating democracy. And the campaign will be more stable than before. This is my mind map, and this is the reference I have been taken. If you have any question to ask me,